It is the week of December 17th, 2019. My name is Rosalie.
And I'm Jackie. Welcome to your final winter news of the year.
A large volcano erupted last week in the country of New Zealand, near Australia. The volcano on the White Island is a popular tourist destination. It is also New Zealand's most active volcano. It is believed that 47 people were on the island when it erupted at 2:11 p.m. local time last Monday. At the time, clouds of ash were shot up to 12,000 feet into the air. The last time the volcano erupted was in April 2016. It is unclear at this time if many warning signs were present that could have prevented tourists from being injured during the eruption.
Arizona is no stranger to weird things appearing in the sky. We are probably most famous for the 1997 Phoenix lights, when a series of mysterious lights moved around the southern desert night sky in a rectangular formation. Last week on Saturday night, a green fireball lit up the southern Arizona sky for a few seconds. The light is believed to have been from a meteor that entered and may have burned up in the Earth's atmosphere. Now let's go over to Mr. Bourne for a weekly update.
Good morning, Winners Well. It's good to be with you. This is Mr. Bourne in a little different environment. Today I would like to read one of my all-time favorite winter holiday books. This is How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Every who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all might have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm light winded windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to keep Christmas from coming. For tomorrow he knew. All the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then all the noise, noise. That's one thing he hated. The noise. Then the Who, young and old, would sit down to feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall or the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing, and they'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing and they'd sing and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years, I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming, but how? And then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I'm looking just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around. But since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. And then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. And then the Grinch said, get up! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. And all their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. And when he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed. And he climbed up the roof, empty bags in his fist. And then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who's stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room. And he took every present, pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorns, and plums. And he stuffed them in bags, and the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimbley. Chimbley. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took that roast beast. He cleaned out their icebox as quick as the flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw little Who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, here you go. Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know, the old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie and he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot. The fake Santa Claus lied. there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there and bring it back here. And his fib fooled the child, and he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he put her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went up the chimney and he stuffed the tree up. And the last thing he took was the log for the fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. And on their walls there was left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who mouses. It was dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Poo-poo to the Who. He was grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I just know what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who down in Whoville will cry, woo! That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low. Then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so. But it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. It hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, didn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel so tight, he whizzed his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. And that is the end. All right, have a good break. Merry Christmas, winners all.
Thank you, Mr. Bourne. Now let's go over to Carissa with sports.
Hello, welcome back to sports. My name is Carissa. NFL news: the Cardinals lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers last week in a 23-7 at home. That brings the Cardinals' record to 3-9-1. It is hard to find a lot of positives from the current losing streak, but they did play a tough game against the Steelers and had a shot at winning in the final minute. The Suns improved their record to 11-12 last week with a big win over the Timberwolves, 125-109. Devin Booker and 27 points to 7 assists in the victory. The Arizona Coyotes keep playing consistently good hockey against their opponents. They finished off 4-game road trip last week with a come-from-behind shootout victory against the Chicago Blackhawks 4-3. They are currently tied with Edmonton for the top spot of the Pacific Division. That is all for sports. See you next time.
Thank you, Chris. And now let's go over to Patricia and Sadie with entertainment news.
Welcome to Entertainment News. My name is Patricia.
And my name is Sadie.
As 2019 comes to a close, we will take a look back on all the biggest hits songs that were popular this year. The top 5 songs determined by the Billboard Music chart for this year were...
And number 5, Without Me by Hazy. And number 4, Someone Like You, Loved by Luis Capaldi. And number 3, Truth Hurts by Lizzo. And at number 2, 7 Rings by Ariana Grande. And at the top song of the year was Old Time Road by Lil Nas X and Billy Ray Cyrus.
See you back here in 2020 with more entertainment news. Thanks, girls. Let's go over to Sophia.
Welcome back to Science Time. My name is Sophia. It can get lonely in outer space, especially for astronauts on the International Space Station. Well, things are about to get a little less lonely as Simon 2 arrives to keep astronauts company. Simon 2 is a friendly robot that can assist and entertain those scientists that are working high above the Earth for the next 3 years or so. Simon 2 is a direct result of the first Simon robot that returned from space earlier this year. Simon 2 has an advanced tone and analyzers that can sense astronauts' emotions and respond to those feelings correctly. This type of robot can be a big help if astronauts ever set up civilians on the moon or other planets. That's all for Science Time. See you next time.
Thanks, Sophia. Now let's go over to Joke of the Week with Jenny and Dakota.
Hello, welcome to Joke of the Week. My name is Jenny.
And my name is Dakota.
So Dakota, what is your joke for today?
Why do people think Santa is in karate?
I don't know. Why do people think that Santa is karate?
Because he wears a black belt.
Great joke. Here on Joke of the Week, we want to hear your joke. If you have a joke and you would like to be on the news, go to the link down below.
See you next time. Bye. Thanks, guys. Let's go over to Patricia and Natalie for Fun Fact Trivia. Welcome to Fun Fact Trivia. My name is Patricia.
And my name is Natalie.
December 17th is National Wright Brothers Day. Wilbur and Orville Wright were brothers were born in 1867 and 1871. Respectively, they were the inventors of the first airplane on December 17, 1903. They made their first flight at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina.
The plane ride lasted 12 seconds and changed the world of travel forever. Your question today is, what did the Wright brothers manufacture before making their first airplane?
A. Roller skates.
B. Furniture.
C. Bicycles.
You have 10 seconds to decide which one is correct.
If you said C, bicycles, you are correct. They began repairing bikes and selling bikes in 1892, but in 1896, they started making their own brand of bicycles.
That's all for Fun Fact Trivia. See you next time.
Thanks, girls. Here's Dakota and Emmanuel.
Hello and welcome to This Week in History. My name is Dakota.
And my name is Emmanuel.
On this day, December 17, 1971, the world's first successful attempt to break the speed of sound on land with
was accomplished. Stan Barrett was a Hollywood stuntman that got interested in racing. One day he got in a driver's seat of an 800,000 double rocket on wheels. The temperature was about 20 degrees on the Beverly Salt Flats in Utah.
He buckled up, pushed the start button, and was off. Due to the errors the radar system, his exact speed is unknown, but it is estimated that he has reached speeds of at least 732 miles per hour. It was an unofficial record, but impressive to say the least. For a speed record to be official, a vehicle must travel twice in opposite directions, and the average top speed is taken from those two runs. Stan only did his run once, but traveled 5.75 miles in a few seconds before his parachute popped out, slowed him down. See you next time on This Week in History.
Thanks, guys. Let's go over to Carissa for Word of the Week.
Welcome to the Word of the Week. My name is Carissa. This Word of the Week is legitimate. Legitimate is an adjective, and it means conforming to the rules or laws. Here is how you can use it in a sentence. The student didn't have a legitimate excuse to being late to class. See you next time on Word of the Week.
Thank you, Carissa. Now it's time for a few reminders.
This is our last week of 2019.
We come back on January 7th.
Great job for our last week's kindergarten through second grade performers for the Christmas concert.
That's all for this week's news.
See you in 2020.